What's up, Math 8? Today we are going to be working on 9.1, which is scatter plots. All right. We've done some stuff pretty similar in the past. The main thing here is that we're looking at graphs. So just as a quick refresher of graphing, I'm going to go ahead and plot the point for us. Let's do 3, -1. Okay. Always remember it goes x first, y second. All right. We start at the origin, which is 0, 0. Right here is our origin, in case you needed to see that. Just go over by the x number. So if it's positive, we're going to go right. Negative, we'll go left, you know. So we'll go over 1, 2, 3. And then for our y, up or down, depending on if it's positive or negative. Negative is going to be down, so then we will go down 1. And that would be the point 3, 1. Right there, or sorry, 3, -1. Okay, so that's what we're looking at when we plot points. So I just wanted to make sure we were good on that. Got a quick little refresher, and then we will go ahead and move on now. All right, so like I said earlier, today we are looking at scatter plots. Okay, one thing just really quickly to kind of look at here is the term bivariate data. All right, basically all that means is when we have data or however you want to pronounce it with two variables. Okay, so really it's nothing new, nothing special. For us, that's usually going to be our independent and our dependent variable. So there's our two variables, right? You got your independent and your dependent. Okay, so that's all it means when it says bivariate data. It's nothing spectacular or special or anything like that. All right. Okay, so then as we look into a scatter plot, basically what a scatter plot is it's going to show us a relationship between two variables on a coordinate plane. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at for this one. For example, if we look here at number 1, it's got a scatter plot of the number of viewers who watched new seasons of a certain television show. All right, so if we look at the table, we've got the seasons. Okay, you can't really see that highlighter. Let me try that again. We'll pick a different color. Let's go with pink. So we've got the seasons right here. Okay, and we've got the number of viewers right here. All right, so you can see each one is graphed. So we've got 131.7. That would be this point right here. Okay, and so on, right? So you can see that each one is graphed just based on the points. So that's nothing new, right? That's just plotting points. All right, then when we look into, well, I guess that's really it for a scatter plot, right? That's as far as we get here. So really a couple things to notice. First of all, these are not all a straight line. As you can see, if I try to connect these, that's not a linear function, okay? So that's really the main thing that we're looking at here is scatter plots aren't going to be just a straight line, okay? All right, so we will go ahead and move on from example 1. I'm not going to make you do got it problem A. If you would like to, just to make sure you can plot points still, you are welcome to go ahead and do that, but again, not going to make you really work on that one so much. All right, so moving on. By the way, this is page 667 now. We have here types of associations for scatter plots. All right, so what we're looking at here are 3 different things mainly. We've got positive, negative, and no association. A lot of times you'll hear correlation instead of association. If you want to write that out, that's your correlation. Okay, that's typically what I call it is correlation. But you know, sometimes they'll say association, I guess, too. So that's yeah, how that one kind of looks with the different types of association. Basically, how it's going to work is for positive association, as x increases, y also increases. Okay, so you'll get something like this. Okay, or as it goes right, it's going to go up. A negative correlation is going to be where we have x increasing but y is decreasing. Okay, that'll be kind of like this. All right, as we go to the right, it goes down. All right, and then lastly, we have no correlation. That's going to be no obvious pattern. It's kind of just going to look like a jumble of points, kind of like this does. Right, there doesn't seem to be any sort of method to how those were placed. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at when we look at positive, negative, and no correlation. All right, if we look at the linear correlation, right, a linear will look like you could just draw a straight line through it and you'd be pretty close. Right, so I can go like this and it looks pretty close. All right, on the other side of it, we have nonlinear, where it doesn't work that way. So if I tried to draw a straight line through the beginning of it, it's going to go this way, right? And these points up here don't really fall into that. Okay, so we still have, I think, a positive correlation here, but it's more of a curve like this. Okay, so that would be nonlinear. All right, that's pretty much what we've got for the correlations, or again, if you prefer, associations. And then we can kind of look into this as well. All right, one other big thing that we're going to look at here is an outlier. Okay, and then an outlier is basically going to be a piece of data that is kind of excluded from the rest. All right. And those are going to be just typically just like a one-off sort of thing where it's just the 1 point. All right. Whoop. All right, so there you go. Data that is excluded from the rest. Okay, that's how I like to remember it. You aren't required to remember it that way. Just keep that sort of idea in mind. All right, so if we look at example 2 here, it's just giving us this scatter plot, and it's saying just interpret this scatter plot of the data for the amount of memory in an MP3 player and the cost based on the shape of the distribution. All right, so we've got all of our points plotted there, and we're just going to go through each one. All right, so first of all, we have the variable association or the variable correlation. This is where we're looking at which direction each one's going. So you're going to notice if we kind of draw just a general, that's kind of the general direction of our graph, as you can see. We can see as x increases, y is also increasing. Okay, so that is going to be a positive correlation. All right, then we can look at a linear association. Can we really draw a straight line through it? I would say we kind of can, right? We don't have to curve that really to get to most of the points. Okay, so I would say that we do in a way have a linear association there, or a linear correlation. All right, and lastly, it kind of looks at other patterns here. The main thing with this is that we don't really have an outlier for this data. So yeah, that is pretty much it for example 2. I want you to go ahead and look at Got It Problem B, and then once you have finished looking at that one, that's going to be it for this video. All right, so go ahead and finish that up, and then we will be done for this video. So I will see you guys in class.